Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka KBeth Bookish, and on today's video I am bringing you part 3 of my Genshin character reading recommendations. This is the third part, so if you are new to this series, I would urge you to go back and have a look at the other characters I've already done. And if you have no idea what this is, what I'm talking about, Genshin Impact is personally my now all-time favourite game and is the game that I have played other than The Sims 4 that my computer told me this morning I have racked up nearly 950 hours on. I have played this probably the second most, but it is one of my all-time favourite video games. There is an enormous cast of characters. Yes, there's a bit of a not great style where it's not like a lot of games where as you play you unlock the characters. You do have to collect gems, and it's what's called a gacha system. So get characters you have to wish, and each wish costs 160 gems that you either find in-game where there's a very limited amount that you can get, or you can purchase extra ones to get bonus pulls. And you know, I haven't put that much money into it. I do try to not buy extra gems. I've so far done very well just with the gems that you get through playing. It is essentially a game that now has a roster of almost 100 characters. There's 95 characters currently playable. It is a game that is constantly expanding. We're getting a new region, not in the next update, but the one after. We'll be getting another new area, which again is going to unlock another sort of 10 to 15 new characters. It's insane, but also in the best kind of way. The gameplay is amazing. The storylines, not all of them are great, but some of the storylines have legitimately had me sat there crying my eyes out because they were just so beautifully done. The music is gorgeous, the graphics are great. I feel it is really a game that has something for everyone. But the purpose of this, this little series and these videos that I'm doing, not only to highlight the game and maybe encourage you to play, but it's just a fun little trend that was going around a few years ago where it was like, you know, recommending books for you based off your favourite characters. And I was like, hey, let's go with that. It's not always exact that these books will have the exact same story or the same backstory, etc. as the characters. Sometimes I've just gone off the vibes that the character gives. Sometimes it might be like their job is the same as someone in the book, or some themes around their story is similar to in the book. So it's not going to be a match for match, like this is the same thing. So don't go into these books going, oh, I play this character, therefore this story will be exactly the same as playing that character. It won't be, but you might notice little flavours here and there, and you'll notice things that are similar, at least I hope. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. Currently in game we have unlocked and revealed 6 nations, and in the previous videos I've just kind of done the characters in whatever order they've come. This time I have grouped them into the area that they're from, so I can talk a bit about the area and then the characters. And we're starting off with the very beginning of our journey in Mondstadt, the City of Freedom. It's the Anemo Archon, so air and wind powers. Every time I go back there, the music just transports me back, not always in a good way, but it does transport me back to the very beginning of the game, and it feels so nostalgic. It has some of my favourite casts of characters, but I have already covered quite a few of them, and the ones I haven't yet covered, I have been struggling. I mean, some of my all-time favourite characters from all of the nations have been giving me genuine migraines trying to figure out what book would fit. Wriothesley, I love you. Oh my god. It can be difficult to find the books, but for Mondstadt I only have the one character for this one because, like I said, the rest of them have either already been done or are giving me trouble and are arguing with me about what book they should have. But for this I am going with Rosaria, who is a badass, just takes no shit none from the cathedral, like Mondstadt Cathedral. She is a polearm wielder. She uses cryo abilities, so it's all ice and freezing people, and she is a cold ice queen herself with a bit of a penchant for drinking good quality wine. With that in mind, thinking purely on the whole, you know, she's in the clergy and is also a badass fighter, I have chosen Covenant by Lysandra Wong because this follows a group of people who are from a convent or sort of like that kind of religious setting, and they go around finding and hunting demons, not funding, finding and hunting demons and taking them down. And I just feel like her demeanour and her abilities kind of match some of the demeanours and abilities within the characters of Covenant, so I felt like she would be a really good match. So if you like Rosaria's personality and you like the idea of, you know, a nun that also can kick ass, check out Covenant. After our adventure in Mondstadt, we travel south to Liyue, which is the Geo Archon's domain. We've already covered the Geo Archon, so if you are interested to see what I gave Zhongli, please do go check out video 1, maybe 2. Just go check out the previous videos to see what I gave him. But in Liyue, I did end up with a lot of characters because I think Liyue actually has got the most number of characters. For this one, to make up for the fact that I only had 1 from Mondstadt, I do have 4 for Liyue. And we're kickstarting this one with QiQi, our little zombie voodoo queen. She is the cutest. She is a little zombie, but she's also very sweet-natured, and she also struggles with memory and focus. So she works for the local pharmacy, and Baiju, who's another character that's not in this video but will be in a future video, she's his assistant, so she goes out and collects the materials that he needs to then turn into potions and poultices. She's not always the best at it. She quite often gets lost and you end up helping her along the way, but she is just so cute. But I went with the idea for her of zombies and the undead, and so I went with what moves the dead, because essentially what is a zombie but something that's being controlled. And I'm not going to say much in this because it's a very short book, very easy to spoil things, but I will just say that, you know, the title, What Moves the Dead, is inference in its own right, and it does kind of go well with that sort of zombie theme of you not being in control of your own body. I just thought, you know, she's undead, there's kind of like an undead vibe in here. The two go hand in hand. I did think originally about going down a voodoo route, but I was like, couldn't think of anything, and then I thought of this and I was like, yes, this is the one. Then we have our pirate queen, Beidou. There is also a slight undertone of sapphic inclinations between her and Ningguang. Nothing official, nothing canon, but 99.9% of the fandom are like, they are a couple, they are queens. They are like secretly married, or not so secretly because everyone knows about it, but it's like one of those things that everyone knows but no one talks about it, because if they hear you, they will both just slam you down, you'll never be heard from again. But she is a badass, she is amazing. But I couldn't not for her, being as she is on a ship. She kind of looks like a pirate. One Piece. Especially as I am now very, very much against my better judgment in the midst of my One Piece journey and have the next 2 volumes of these sat upstairs waiting for me. She is a captain. Luffy is a captain. Personality-wise, she's very much more like Zoro than Luffy. She's kind of that cool, calm, collected, suave, but with a little bit of a flirtatious streak of Sanji in there. But she also will go to war to protect her crew, just like Luffy. So there's elements in there from different things that I feel reflect really well with Beidou. And also, it's just, you know, she collects crewmates. Like, she kind of took in Kazuha when he had nowhere else to go, and that's very similar to what Luffy kind of does. I love her so much. So Beidou, One Piece. I then chose Keqing as our next. She basically is this sort of superhuman who can do everything, but she is extraordinarily work focused, and she's kind of got this bit of a block in her brain where she feels like her value is based on how much work she does. So if she takes time off, she feels like she's, you know, not giving to society. She feels like she's not pulling her weight. She feels like she's not doing well enough. And so she puts herself down because of that. And I felt that was very reflective of Jinan in Winter's Orbit. He is the husband of, I can't remember the other guy, Tom? Yes, he is the husband of Tom, and he is very aware that he is a marriage for political gain. No one really cares about him as a person, they just care about the maintaining the politics and maintaining the treaty between their two nations. And it was like, you know, they didn't really care who got it, but his husband makes him feel inferior, and there is some psychological abuse that goes on there. And as a result, it's left him feeling like he can only be valued if he's working, and he really struggles to relax or unwind or show his true self. And I feel that that is very similar to Keqing. And so yeah, similarly to Keqing, who ends up with a fantastic group of people around her who help her understand that there is more to life than work, it's similar with Jinan once he and Kiem get together. I am shocked that I'm remembering these names. Like, this is almost unheard of for me, so go me. But him and Kiem, when they get together, you know, Kiem helps him to unlock that side of himself, and it's similar to Keqing with her friends, so that's why I have chosen those two to go together. And our final character for Liyue is the famous dressmaker Chiori. She's reasonably new to the roster. She's a character that I've enjoyed when I've done testers with her, but I've not played her story arc, and I don't have her as a character, so I don't really know much yet in terms of her personality. But going purely off what she's wearing and the fact that she is a dressmaker, I've gone with Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. I mean, first and foremost, look at the cover, look at those colours, certainly on this part of the cover, and then look at Chiori again. It's a perfect match. And also, you know, Chiori is a dressmaker, and some of that is magical. Wait, is she Liyue or is she Fontaine? Or is she... She's a weird one. I can't even remember. So I will put here which region she is from, and if I am in fact an idiot that's got it wrong when I keep saying Liyue, but I'm sure she's Liyue. Either way, she's a fantastic character, what I've played so far. But this is a story about a tailor/dressmaking competition, and she is a tailor/dressmaker. Enough said, really. From Liyue, we are taking a ship all the way across to Inazuma, to the land of Electro, which kind of speaks for itself. It is the land of electricity, Archon, and in terms of, because each region is based on sort of like a real place, so Mondstadt is sort of loosely based off of Germany, Liyue is based off of China or inspired by China, and then Inazuma is inspired by Japan. We all know how much I love East Asian culture, especially Japanese and Korean. So for me, going to Inazuma is always a treat. I love the sort of different, like we have foxes and fox demons running around, and just all the different little pieces that tell you that this is very Asian and certainly Japanese inspired. I just love it. It's in my sort of top regions of places we've been so far. I have two characters from Inazuma for this video. We're kickstarting this off with Kirara, who, well, everyone says Kirara, but you know, it's Kirara. But she is a yokai, which is a half demon, half human. She's like a cat, half cat demon, and she runs a sort of, I can't think of the word, courier. There it is. She's got a courier service, and she is the one that does the deliveries. So she goes all over the world doing these deliveries. Now, based off of the yokai idea and the fact that her name is Kirara, I'm bringing you a manga recommendation, and that is Inuyasha by Rumiko Takahashi, because not only is Inuyasha himself a yokai, which is, you know, half spirit, half demon, half human, there is an actual character called Kirara in the series who is a cat demon. It couldn't be a more perfect match made in heaven, and I also can't help but wonder if the creators of Genshin knew that and that's what inspired their character design. I could be wrong, but as soon as I saw her, I was like, Inuyasha. So I have that for that one. And then our second one is also a yokai. He is the dudest bros of Dude Bros. He's amazing. I love him. He did annoy me at first, but he's grown on me and is now one of my absolute top characters. I adore him with all my heart. He's so funny. He gives no craps. And he's also voiced by Max Mittelman, who is a voice actor I really love, and that is none other than Arataki Itto. He is just, like I said, he is the dudest bro of dude bros. He is very, very much someone who does not think about the future. He lives every day for the moment he is in, and he is very much a no brains, no thoughts, all react kind of guy. As someone with ADHD, there's a lot about him that I actually kind of resonate with, specifically the way that he doesn't always stop to think. He just kind of is very reactive about things. He's very excitable, and he just takes the joys in the smallest things that maybe other adults are like, that's a bit immature, why are you enjoying this? But as someone who also has those kind of personality traits, I love it, and it's great to see. Even if it's not because he's ADHD, I still feel like I connect with him on that kind of level. But with that in mind, I was thinking about this idea of, you know, maybe being a bit immature, refusing to grow up, and at first I wasn't sure what to do with him, but eventually I settled on Peter Pan. What better for someone who is impulsive and doesn't really grow up than someone who is impulsive and doesn't really grow up? There are other aspects of the Peter Pan lore that are different, but I just went with that core function of this person who, even though he is an adult, he still has a childlike wonder about the world, and he still almost very much acts like a child. And I feel like that is very, like with Peter Pan, he has been alive for who knows how long, and yet he himself is also still very childish and refuses to grow up. I just feel like it's a very similar theme, so I've decided to go with that. Then from Inazuma we went to the region of Sumeru that is kind of split into two parts. We've got the sort of the rainforest, and then we have the desert where it's, you know, very hot, very sandy, pyramids, very Egyptian inspired, and it also has like a lot of sort of Arabic influence within both parts of Sumeru. And again, this is a region where the characters are either not ones that I really play or have much of an interest in, haven't read books that would fit because of the setting. As we know, I don't read a lot of books inspired by sort of desert settings and Arabic sort of mythology and things like that, or like Persian settings, or they just are giving me a nightmare in terms of the sort of story that they've got. So it's been very difficult for me, but one character that was quite pivotal to certainly the finale of the Sumeru questline, and has kind of crept up in various other storylines before and since, but it was in Sumeru that we really got to know him, and I feel like his character design fits Sumeru more than anywhere else, and that is Wanderer. When we first met him, he was called Scaramouche. After the Sumeru storyline, he was renamed Wanderer. And we also, as characters, got to change his name. The way he is so awkward when someone compliments him, because he's like, I'm not a good guy. Why are you thanking me when I'm not a good... And he's just got this real complex layer to him where he kind of feels like he's not a great guy, but he also is a great guy. It's cute and he's adorable, which not many people would call him, but I'm going to call him. But with that in mind, and based on the fact that he is now a wanderer and he is at a stage where he's now trying to find what his purpose is in life, and he's questioning a lot about his past and where he's been and where he's going next, I felt that reflected the themes of A Psalm for the World built really, really well, because sibling Dex is going through the exact same thing, questioning their choices, wondering if this is the correct path for them, and if it's not, then what do they actually want to be doing? And then once they've met Moscap and the pair go off the road into like the unknown, and like both of them are learning things about themselves, I feel like that reflects where Wanderer is at on his personal journey as well, and I just feel that the two go hand in hand. And it's a great book if you yourself are in a position where you're currently questioning a few things, and I found that it was really a great book for helping me understand a few things too. After that we went to Fontaine, which is the Hydro Archon, so water. And I didn't like this region very much at first, and it's still not like my favourite, but I do really love the fact that we can go underwater and that we can explore a load of stuff, and there's like loads of new gameplay mechanics that came into play in this region, so for the first time ever we could actually like swim underwater and explore, and has been really fun to see. But it has brought some of my absolute favourite characters, two of which I have not added in this video because, as I've already said with Ridesley, really struggling to find books to match them, and Neuvillette is proving to be just as difficult. However, I do have three, and I do also have a bonus one that I'll say at the end. But the first of these that I have chosen is Charlotte. She is the lead journalist for the Steambird newspaper, and so I figured that, you know, journalist meet journalist with divine rivals. It's the only book I have that I could think of that had journalists. This is one of the ones that I said I haven't yet read, but I feel like it would be a great match for her. So, you know, journalist meet journalist. That's purely the only connection I have got so far because I don't know her so well and I haven't read this. But then we do have a character that I know very, very well. I love her to pieces. She is... It will be a very cold day in hell before she leaves my team because she is my powerhouse unit. Like, she can one hit and she will just half kill something. She's great. And that is Navia. She runs her own, like, her father set up his own private detective agency called the Spina de la Rusa, and I just feel that that idea and the way that she goes around helping people matches an agency for Scandal. I've got a season for Scandal here because I've got to show off the stunning beauty of this book. Just, oof. This is the second book. The first one I only have the arc for somewhere over there, but I love this, and as I said before, this gives kind of Bridgerton meets Enola Holmes, but it's got that idea of a ladies detective agency, and Navia is a ladies detective agency. Also, I feel like Navia would really fit in well with these guys. And then the final one for Fontaine is another character that I don't know well, and another book that I haven't yet read, but purely off the cover of this book, we have Chevreuse, who is like this rifle wielding, wearing like almost like a military uniform. She works in the Maison Gardiennage, Guards of Fontaine. I went with Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan purely because of the, you know, he's holding a rifle, he's wearing a military type uniform, there's black and red on the cover and she's got red clothing. So I could be completely wrong, but also she is like she's pyro, so fire, and so she uses her weapon like for the magic, and it's like her magic is what powers her weapon, and this is similar, I believe. So I'm gonna just stick with that uneducated guess. And then finally, the newest region to our roster is the Land of Pyro, so the Land of Fire, which is Natland. This is very kind of South American inspired, specifically kind of Peruvian, Aztec kind of. We've got like all the different types of graffiti. We've got, the region is separated into different tribes. Everyone's got different flavor of things. We've got the volcano region that is coming next week. It's going to be amazing. And there's also little creatures called saurians that are kind of almost dinosaurs. The whole region has just been an absolute delight, and I think it's not my favorite, but it is definitely up there like with Inazuma as one of my absolute favorite regions. And if you're wondering, my absolute favorite region is Chenyu Vale, which is part of Liyue. Stunning, gorgeous, stunning. I love it. Oh, it's my favorite region. But Liyue overall is my favourite. But for this, I have two characters. First up, we have Auroron, who is he's kind of like an aphid keeper. He is just a very gentle soul, but he also is quite sassy, which I love about him. The second they revealed him in like the teaser trailer, I was like, I'm in love. He is going to be a little, like, in my emo boy roster, and he is. I love him so, so much, and he now... he's not a permanent member of my team, but I do bring him into my team anytime I need an art, like someone with a bow, I will bring him in. But I have chosen Blue Exorcist to represent him. I know I've already bought this in for Chongyun in a previous video, but for this one I'm using the comparison of Rin instead of Yukio. Also, I did say Yuki in that video because I am an idiot and forgot. It is Yukio. But Rin in Blue Exorcist has a very similar theme to Auroron, with that stuff happens and as a result people mistrust him and think that he's a traitor or the bad guy, and then he has to kind of, you know, be like, I'm really not, and prove himself. And the similar thing, I'm not saying what, but a similar thing happens with Auroron. And I just feel like their personalities, Auroron's less explosive than Rin, but I feel like they're kind of those characters where they will not necessarily plan super far ahead, and they just do what they think is right without thinking about the consequences. So it's like chaotic good at its most pure form, and it goes for both of them, so I feel like they are a very good match. And then our final one for this bit is Auroron's granny, which is Granny herself, Citlali. She might look young, but she is in fact actually, I think we know she's at least over 200. She has these abilities where she can enter into like almost like a dreamscape to go into like the veil and the other realm within, I can't remember the name of it, even though I've only just recently played it, I can't think of the name of it. But essentially she can go into like dreams and into like these kind of trances and things. And with that in mind, I chose The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater, because I'm not saying how, I'm not saying who or why. I will just say that one of the characters has kind of similar abilities, and also I feel like the personalities between these two kind of go quite hand in hand as well, with the whole being quite explosive and not always the most team player. So I do feel like there's quite a good connection there between like her abilities and her personality and the stuff that goes on within the Raven Cycle. And then I have one bonus character for this round, because this one was actually specially requested by one of you. In my last video I need to look at it, so I'm sorry, I'm looking down. Nick B. Cat, thank you so much for your suggestion and your request for Furina. This one took me quite a while. This one gave me a bit of a headache until I read my book of the year for last year and thought this actually is a really good comparison. So for this one I have chosen Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. Furina is the Hydro Archon, so the god of the Hydro region and leader of Fontaine, only we start to realise very early on that there is more to her than that, and that her story is a little bit more complex, and eventually we realise that it's all just a big facade and that she is basically impersonating the true Archon, and like with the Archon's blessing, but it, you know, all of this comes out and she's basically lived a lie of deception, and she also, like, she wants to be loved and accepted, but she's not always sure how to do it, and quite often her actions tend to push people away instead of bringing them closer. And I feel that this really reflects Vanya and the stuff that happens within Little Thieves, where she has literally stolen someone's identity and now she wants to do better and be a better person but doesn't know how to be, and quite often has very questionable choices which make you sort of at times not even like her as a character. And so because both of these characters are so flawed, they both have this thing about this like storyline of identity and sort of impersonation. I feel they go very well together, and also both of them you kind of don't have an understanding of their true motives, so I feel them two go very well together. So thank you again for your request, and I hope you enjoy the recommendation if you haven't yet already read it. But with that, that is the final. This is probably going to be quite a long video. I hope you've stuck around and have enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you do play Genshin Impact. Are there any characters that I've not yet covered that you would love to see coming up? I do have some that I could have added in this video, but it would have been far too long, so they will come up next round. I've got Kinich, I've got Kachina, I've got Albedo and Dainsliff. They're all ready to go. But if there's any others that you would like me to try and prioritise, please do let me know in the comments. But if you're just here for the fun, let me know who of the characters I've shown you today is the one that you think it looks the best or sounds the coolest. In the meantime, I hope you're all good. I hope you're staying safe. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my Etsy and Patreon that are both always linked below, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!